Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Around the World. The recent interview of US President Donald Trump has become the center of global debate. This interview was not just a casual political remark, rather, it reignited discussions on nuclear power, global military balance, arms policy, and the concept of strategic deterrence. By hinting at the possibility of resuming real nuclear explosive tests, which have been suspended for over 33 years, Trump raised a question on the world stage that goes beyond political debate and reaches the very foundation of international security. Trump claimed that Russia, China, North Korea, and Pakistan were secretly conducting nuclear tests. He stated that these countries were testing underground in deep rock formations, in places where surveillance satellites and monitoring systems could not detect clear signals. He based his claim on the idea that these countries were constantly introducing new missiles and systems, and I quote, "If any country is developing new technology, it must test it for success," unquote. Although there is no conclusive evidence at the international level that these countries have conducted direct explosive tests in recent years, Trump has persistently raised his claim publicly. His main argument was that countries like the US, which have been relying on scientific modeling, simulations, and computer-based validation systems for nuclear weapon reliability, have now reached a point where they should conduct real explosions for testing. He argued, imagination alone, theories alone, scientific calculations alone, that's not enough. If a weapon is made, it must be tested, unquote. The US has not conducted a real explosion since 1992. While missile systems, launch systems, and warhead delivery structures have been tested, no real explosion has occurred. During this period, the US has kept its nuclear program at a maximum controlled state with the vision of keeping the global community away from an arms race and maintaining a minimal nuclear threat scenario. However, during this period, Russia and China began to publicly showcase research, experimental development, and technological innovation on their weapons and launch systems. Russia talked about its Poseidon, a highly destructive nuclear-powered torpedo, and then announced the successful test of the Burevestnik, a nuclear-powered cruise missile, on October 26. This missile is said to be so unique that its engine is nuclear-powered. Such a missile can bypass any anti-aircraft system, angle-changing obstruction system, and land-based obstruction system. Russia's open promotion of such weapons is itself a strategy. It wants to signal that it is not only developing its weapons, but also showing them. This is the point where Trump's thinking emerges. And I quote, "If they are doing it, why not we?" unquote. The real question is, has the world community once again reached a point where displays of power and weapon tests becomes the language of security? This is a very serious question because even without nuclear tests in recent years, humanity has achieved a silent state of strategic stability. It was a time when terrorism, cyber conflicts, regional disputes, energy competition, everything happened. Yet, nuclear explosive tests remained controlled. This silence was the greatest foundation of global security. If the US resumes real testing, its direct response will be seen in 3 levels. Russia and China will openly increase their weapon demonstrations, accelerating the competition. The nuclear test ban regime will prove to be hollow. The confidence of regional nuclear nations may also increase in a more risky direction. For India, the situation is extremely serious and multifaceted. India has always tried to establish itself as a responsible nuclear power on the international stage. India's entire nuclear approach is based on restraint, discipline, and morality-based power balance. Therefore, even without conducting new tests, India has conveyed that the purpose of weapon accumulation and demonstration is not just to threaten, but to maintain global stability and balance deterrence. However, if the US turns testing into a normal practice again, it will weaken the moral foundation that has gradually built global sensitivity over the years. US signals will create an atmosphere where testing may become normal. And this is the dangerous turning point that can make South Asia an even more volatile region. The Pakistan-China alliance could exploit this altered environment as an opportunity and adopt a more aggressive, bolder, and risk-taking approach in nuclear behavior. This is also dangerous because South Asia's nuclear politics is not as stable as that of Europe or the American continents. Here, boundaries are still alive and disputes are alive. There are no winter command systems here, but real ground conflicts are ongoing. Thus, if global legitimacy for testing increases, the risks in South Asia could double. But the real meaning of this is not limited to one weapon. It is a much deeper question. It is a test of humanity's intellectual journey where technological capabilities have grown rapidly. But the question is, has moral wisdom advanced at the same pace? Has humanity, after gaining power, also acquired the maturity to handle its responsibility? Or is the reality that technological intensity has outpaced moral judgment? This is the core, heaviest, and most decisive question of this debate. Because if nuclear tests are normalized on the world stage again, the consequence will not only be related to increasing power numbers, but will also push our collective moral journey backward. It will be a turning point where technology has overwhelmed wisdom and power has suppressed conscience. Thus, today's debate, beyond the dimension of weapons, has become a test of civilization's maturity. This is not just an issue of numbers, data, or fusion-fission mathematics. It is a test of humanity's moral future. And the cost of failure in this test, future generations will have to pay for it. So let's conclude the discussion with today's question. Will South Asia, already filled with active ground tensions, become even more volatile in this new situation?
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.